What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date with everything that's going on, and we've got some more information, folks. Check this out. Failure of communication. Beaver County SWAT team details account of Trump assassination attempt. That is right. We got some more information coming out. They also released some text messages from the Secret Service SWAT team. So we're going to get into all that. So let's go. Let's go ahead and get into this. The local SWAT team assigned to help protect former President Donald Trump on July 13th had not had any contact with Secret Service agents in charge of security before a would-be assassin opened fire, those officers told ABC News. Now, we were sitting there speculating and wondering, like, okay, how can there be so many security failures that this dude just happened to sneak through and just happened to get through? They weren't communicating, the local law enforcement, right? And we wondered, like, why would Secret Service need help from local law enforcement? You know, it was first reported that they were told that, oh, they were there just to, you know, deal with the traffic and the people and the parking situation and all this other stuff, and Secret Service was actually doing security on site or whatever. But now that's come out, no, that wasn't the case. They had SWAT teams out there with counter snipers from the local, you know, the Pennsylvania State Police, local county police and sheriff and all this other garbage. They had all these people helping. Why? Because they denied Trump Secret Service protection. He didn't have enough protection. So they needed local law enforcement to help out. But they weren't freaking communicating according to this. It's like, what was really going on? It was a critical part of the planning and communication failures that ended with a gunman killing one man, critically injuring two more, and wounding Trump as he delivered a speech just days before accepting the Republican presidential nomination. We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with Secret Service members whenever they arrived, and that never happened, said Jason Woods, lead sharpshooter on the SWAT team in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. So I think that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong because it never happened. Woods said, we had no communication. Now, I wonder why that is. Is it because maybe somebody on the Secret Service just forgot to communicate with local law enforcement? I mean, is that what they're expecting us to believe? That Secret Service just said, oh, well, we're not going to communicate with these guys, or they forgot, right? Either one. Like, if they forgot, incompetence, fire all of them. If they just said, nah, we're not going to do that, incompetence, fire all of them, and do a criminal investigation to make sure they didn't just say, no, we're not going to do that because we want something to happen. Like, it's like, come on, we need some more answers other than, no, they just didn't want to talk to us. It's like, what is really going on? So, we've got this. Snipers noticed crooks 90 minutes before Trump shooting, New York Times reporting. Security at former President Trump's Butler, PA rally first noticed the man who later shot Trump more than 90 minutes before shots were fired, according to text reported by the New York Times, adding to criticism of the Secret Service's handling of the event. A local counter-sniper first noticed the gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks at 4:26 p.m., just more than an hour and a half before he climbed onto a nearby roof and shot at Trump, nicking his ear, killing a supporter in the crowd, and injuring two. The officer, who was clocking out of his shift, notified colleagues about a suspicious man sitting at a picnic table near their lookout point via text. Additional texts about 5:40 p.m. show officers discussing that they should inform Secret Service after Crooks was spotted again, this time using a rangefinder. So, they noticed this guy was suspicious. They were supposed to notify Secret Service. Now, who was it that failed to notify Secret Service, right? But according to these people, right, there was no communication set up. They never had their face-to-face meeting. They were supposed to have a briefing to where they could talk about communications. You know, who's going to be the lead communicator, blah, 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 code names, code words, all this good stuff. But they never done that. So, was it the Secret Service that intentionally just said, screw it, we're not going to do this briefing? Or was it the other way? Or was it the local people that said, no, We're not going to do it. You would figure it's, okay, so this is on the Secret Service. That's what it seems like to me. This is falling deadly upon Secret Service. Call it into command and have a uniform check it out, the text reads. The series of security failures that allowed crooks to get into position to shoot Trump has shocked Congress, sparking a House investigation as well as an independent probe. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle resigned from her post last week after being grilled by the House Oversight and Command, blah, blah, blah. We get it. Police on scene were unable to find Crooks again after being made aware of his presence near the building he later climbed. Just after Trump took to stage at 6:03, members of the crowd pointed out a suspicious man on a nearby roof. FBI Director Christopher Wray testified last week that a local Butler police officer was then boosted onto the roof to confront Crooks, but was met with a gun being pointed at him. With no free hands to grab his own gun and fire back, he dropped to avoid being shot. Just seconds later, Wray said, Crooks fired 8 rounds toward Trump. He was quickly shot and killed by a Secret Service counter-sniper team. A motive for the shooting is unknown, though investigators found that Crooks had searched for multiple possible targets before deciding on Trump, including President Biden. It is believed he suffered from a depressive order. So now they're wanting you to believe that he was trying to shoot just anybody, right? He wasn't directly going after Trump. We don't know what his motive was. No, I'm sorry. BS. We know exactly what his motive was. This guy was a Biden supporter. The corporate press is outright lying. He looked up Biden because he was a Biden supporter. But what they failed to tell you is that he was looking up the JFK shooting, right? He looked up other assassination attempts like on Reagan and some other political people. That's what he was looking up. He wasn't looking up Biden as if he was going to go assassinate Biden. No, I'm sorry, corporate press. You can lie all you want, but I'm not buying into your lies. I'm not buying into it was just a security failure. It was intentional. Somebody intentionally didn't communicate with local law enforcement. Why? That's what I want to know. Why? And another thing, why the hell would Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, get in front of Congress and idly speculate on whether it was a bullet or not that hit Donald Trump? What else do you think? Like fueling conspiracy theories, fueling these insane leftist conspiracy theories. We went over a couple of them on a video I'd done last week. They're just outright insane, saying it was glass from something, right? That even though no glass was shot, we saw that video of the person who actually broke it down, made a 3D model, rendered everything, where the shots came from, who they hit, matched it with video evidence. As a matter of fact, here you go. I'll throw that in right now.
This is the area we're going to focus in on. Here you can see the 3 victims that were injured by gunfire and where they were standing in the bleachers. We're going to turn around and demonstrate exactly where these bullets came from. This model represents Thomas Crooks. His position can be seen here in this image, which illustrates exactly where he was. Turning around, we can see the path of all the bullets that were fired from this location. I placed a 10-foot red disc downrange to represent what an average shooter could hit easily. Now let's take a look at this first shot fired. Coming from our key location, bullet 1 grazes President Trump's ear. This is the same bullet that hits a spectator in the stands. We know this through video evidence. As President Trump is talking, the first shot rings out just after he says, "Take a look at what happened."
Something that said, "Take a look at what happened."
We can see the vapor trail of a bullet strike, which is the same bullet that struck President Trump's ear a split second earlier, and this video is this location here. Back at the podium, President Trump is shot and grabs his ear, falling to the ground as more shots rang out. In total, there were 7 or 8 shots, so let's rewind and watch this at regular speed.
Take a look at what happened.
With all that gunfire, it's easy to understand how these spectators were injured, even though they were not the target, including the sole spectator who lost his life that day. As we circle around, we can see how all the paths of the bullets were hitting in the location of this forklift machine, causing one of the hydraulic hoses to burst.
You know, one of the main questions I have with all of this, right? Like, they knew about this guy 90 freaking minutes, an hour and a half, over an hour and a half before. How come he wasn't detained? That's question number one. Why was he not detained? Second thing, why was there a communication breakdown between local law enforcement who actually knew about this guy and Secret Service who knew about this guy? Why was this guy not detained, questioned, searched, all this good jargon, right? There's many questions here. It really seems like somebody intentionally let this guy slip through the cracks. Like, put these cracks intentionally in the security so he could slip right through. That's what it seems like, because because there's just so many questions. Why was he allowed to get up onto the roof? Why was he allowed with a rangefinder? Why didn't they shoot him before, blah, blah, blah. We could go on for days with all the questions about security. Like, really, the dude was caught with a rangefinder. He was seen with a rangefinder. They knew about this guy 90 minutes beforehand and did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. Oh, well, let me send a text to this guy and say, hey, we got a suspicious guy over here. And what did that guy do? Just ignore the text and not go look for this dude when he was easily findable? As a matter of fact, Secret Service were taking pictures of this guy. I bring it back to Occam's razor with the least amount of assumptions, right? For this to be just security failures, you have to make an awful lot of assumptions, right? Like, you have to assume that, hey, they didn't put anybody on this roof for a reason. They didn't go and look for this guy. Like, just assuming, when its a simple explanation is they just said, screw it, we don't care, right? These people need to be fired. Like, Kimberly Cheadle resigning. Yeah, I jumped on that bandwagon at first. I was like, yeah, she needs to resign. But was it her fault? She runs the show, right? But what I really want to know, was it one of these guys on the ground, maybe somebody in charge for communicating between Secret Service and local PD, just said, screw it, I'm not going to communicate with these guys, and let the confusion just roil. It still blows my mind that we don't have an official story surrounding this, right? Like, oh, it was just a guy slipped through the cracks. He may have had a depressive disorder. Like, huh? Like, it's just, there's just so many questions. I don't know how many times I can say that, but we need to keep this story in the forefront of people's minds. We need to get it out there. We don't need the left to continuously cover this up with Kamala Harris, y'all. Joe Biden dropping out, like, that whole story, that whole thing. The corporate press has latched onto that and are now trying to force that down everybody's throat. My news feed is nothing but Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris. Like, come on. Get off of Kamala Harris. Let's figure this story out. Let's find out why there were so many security failures, if it was just security failures. Let's find out if it was somebody intentionally allowed for these security failures to fester off in the background, knowing about this guy for so long. Right? It's just utter insanity. But, I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Give me your conspiracies. Let me know what you think happened. What you think, is it just a security failure, or did somebody want this to happen? Let me know what you think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.